If we've said it once, we've said it 1,000 times. The best way to enjoy online dating is by keeping yourself safe, especially in a world where things like romance scams are on the rise. While a portion of online dating safety falls on the shoulders of the individual, ignore meeting strangers alone, insisting on phone calls and video chatting before meeting, never wiring money to strangers, etc., an even larger portion should rest squarely on the apps themselves. What good is finding love or finding someone special if you have to put yourself in danger in the process? Spoiler alert, it's not worth it. That's why it's incredibly important when looking for somewhere to date online you gravitate towards the safest dating apps. These are the apps that clearly invest in having your back and keep safe practices at the foreground of their decision-making. Since we can probably all agree on that, the next question is, what are the safest dating apps? That's what we want to talk about today. Keep watching to find a list of our top picks, as well as some tips and resources to ensure a secure dating experience from start to finish. What are the safest dating apps? Number 1, eHarmony. Let's start with the most important question of them all: is eHarmony safe? Well, first, eHarmony is known as the #1 trusted dating app, based on an eHarmony internal study. And while we normally wouldn't give much bother to a self-acclaimed title, there is plenty that eHarmony does to prove to us that they live up to that claim. The dating app has been around for over 20 years and has only had one minor data breach that was all the way back in 2010, over 10 years ago, and it didn't affect any sensitive data. For those unfamiliar with data security, this is an impressive track record to be proud of. On top of that, many of eHarmony's features have been developed with user safety in mind. Features like SNS profile verification, requiring 2FA for logins on new devices, and blurring images to protect the privacy of their users have gone a long way to make sure eHarmony has a community that's focused on serious dating and keeps you from getting catfished or falling victim to romance scams. Additionally, eHarmony utilizes secure messaging with the ability to automatically filter and block abuse. They routinely review accounts for inconsistent or suspicious behavior, and has a highly trained staff that is fairly aggressive with removing potentially dangerous accounts that just don't add up. We've actually had our review testing accounts removed almost every time they weren't real people, which doesn't happen with most dating apps. All of this together is why we gave eHarmony 5 padlocks, our highest rating for safe dating apps. Number 2, Higher Bond. It's rare that you'd find a new dating app on a list of the safest dating apps, but it happens when the security and development teams go above and beyond. Here's why this app makes the cut. First of all, Higher Bond manually checks and verifies every single person who joins the app before they're giving access to the site. Not only do they verify the information provided as much as possible, but you have to take a very unique selfie to show that you are the person you say you are. It's unusual for sure, but it also seems to be doing a great job of creating a safe space with minimal scammers and fake accounts. Second, all communications and messages run through high-level encryption to ensure that nothing gets to you that shouldn't. Additionally, the app doesn't let users privately exchange images or files for an added layer of security. You'll also find prominently posted on every single message a list to their dating safety tips. Anytime a site works to educate users, that's a win. The only drawback to safety and security would be the fact the app is newer, so it's basically impossible to look at a long track record of security success. But with a strong and safe first year, we expect things to continue positively for Higher Bond in this department. If you're a Christian single who wants not only a safe dating app, but one that aggressively promotes a wholesome environment, you'll enjoy Higher Bond. Number 3, Bumble. Earlier we talked about how Higher Bond uses unique selfies to help validate that users are who they say they are. At Bumble, they take that to the next level. Instead of just a handful of poses, Bumble picks from hundreds of poses and asks you to match it in. You then have to take a selfie in that same pose in order to get your account verified. Now, verification is not required, which we wish it was, but it's there if you want to take advantage of it. All in all, a cool process that looks to be rather effective. Something we were also fans of with Bumble is that they've designed out a very in-depth safety center where you can learn about safety features, get tips on staying safe, and even get help with dealing with anxiety, burnout, and overall mental health. Some of the features covered include the photo verification, which we talked about, a private detector that auto-blurs out inappropriate photos, blocking and reporting, and even a snooze option to let you take a break from the app without losing your place. In addition to this, Bumble operates on a ladies' first premise where women always have to send the first message to initiate a conversation. While this might not make men feel much safer, it's certainly going to help some women feel more in control of the process, and ultimately probably safer. For full transparency, we do feel that dating apps that lend themselves more to casual dating tend to be more susceptible to issues. Number 4. Zoosk. Another safe dating app with an incredible safety center is Zoosk. Much like Bumble, the Zoosk Safety Center breaks down safety tips for creating your profile, connecting and communicating, and meeting in person. The guide is the most exhaustive we've seen, but not to a point of overloading you with information where it's too much to read to be effective. Interesting enough, Zoosk also requires that you acknowledge you've read the safety tips prior to allowing you to activate your account, though they don't really have any way of confirming that. In addition, Zoosk has a very descriptive privacy policy that shares exactly what they will and won't do with your data, as well as their reasons for collecting certain information. The privacy policy does also reiterate that a lot of the security onus does fall on you as the user, but that's something that's going to be true of any dating app, not exclusively Zoosk. Outside of the security talk, Zoosk itself is a very successful and respected app within the industry. There is a reason there have been nearly 40 million downloads by users in over 80 countries. Number 5. The League. If you've ever worked in app security, it's okay if you haven't, then the chances are high you've heard of NowSecure. This third-party app security company has worked with the likes of Uber, IBM, Humana, and a whole host of other major companies including the League. The League dating app is routinely audited by the company to ensure the highest level of safety and security on its platform. And because the League is not even available via desktop, this is the only way unsavory folks might gain access, and they have that nicely buttoned up. On top of this security, the League also promotes safety through extensive user curation. If you haven't heard of the League before, it's a dating app that aims to be extremely exclusive for the higher tier of successful people in society. In order to gain access to the app, you have to get on a waiting list, you have to connect your LinkedIn and socials for vetting, and you have to be voted in by an algorithm and real people who work for the app. What this produces is two things: an ultra-exclusive list of singles in major cities, and also a higher level of security because every single account is so heavily vetted. If you don't live in a big city, the app won't be great for you, not because of any security issues, but because the concentration of users is high in big cities and super low anywhere else. If you want safe and exclusive in your dating life, check out the League. Number 6. Highly. Hilly is a dating app that looks to use artificial intelligence, AI, to help curate better and better matches for you the more you use the app. Basically, the more you like, dislike, or interact with users, the more the app learns your type and adjusts your matches as such. But with this new data and tech-heavy approach, is Hilly safe to use? Well, even though it's the last option on our list of the safest dating apps, it still made the list, which means yes. Here's why. First, like many of the apps on this list, Hilly has a dedicated security page with tips and resources to help keep you safe while using the app. Second, the AI tech used to curate matches is also used to drive safety. According to TechCrunch, Hilly uses the AI to assign users a risk score based on how verified they are, which can block other users from sending them any personal data. As we mentioned, casual dating apps do tend to have more security issues than others, but Hilly seems to be doing a good job trying to stay out ahead of that stigma. Knowing what makes an online dating app safe is a great way to approach the selection process, but often, an even better way to go about identifying safety and security concerns is by looking for things that make a dating app unsafe. Let's take a look at some of the red flags we look for when ranking the safeness of dating apps.